our office utilizes an electronic grant reporting system called Oklahoma Grant Exchange, or OGX. Chances are you've already been in this system. If you're a project director, for you finance officers, you might not have seen this before. Maybe you have, but everybody involved in your project really does need to be aware of how to utilize this system and what the roles actually mean and how to change those roles when that comes around. Most of those roles are going to be listed on these slides, but everybody in your agency is going to be assigned a various role, and those roles come with different permissions. So let's look at that list. So when you're in OGX and you are looking at the different people who are assigned to your project, these are some of the titles that you're going to see, some of the assignments you're going to see. The ones that are really going to be beneficial and really going to impact your agency the most are the ones they're highlighted under grantee agency roles. So everybody in your agency that has a role in OGX in your project is going to be assigned one of these 4 titles. And we're going to go over what the permissions are that go with those. So the authorized official is the person who is able to enter into and sign contracts on behalf of your agency. So for municipalities, it's usually a city manager or a mayor. And counties, it's usually a county commissioner or whoever the head of the Board of County Commissioners is. And sometimes that changes from year to year. So we have to kind of go in and edit that in OGX. And I'm going to teach you how to do that. For universities and nonprofits, it can be the executive director, maybe the grants director. It can change, it can vary from agency to agency. When the time comes, you need to make sure that your authorized official knows that you plan to apply for a project. So that actually comes up in December when you guys are applying for grant funding for FY24. So make sure that they know that you're planning to apply for funding. And then you're going to notify them when they need to get into OGX to certify something like a change request or certify the project to get ready for the grant year. They're really only going to have to get into OGX for those 2 things. So they have to certify the project when the time comes, and then they also have to approve certain change requests mid-year. Chances are when your project gets to a point that the authorized official needs to hop in to certify something, your program manager is going to let you know. So you don't have to worry about getting in to check those things. Our program management team is pretty on top of it. So we will definitely be letting you know. Because these authorized officials get into the OGX system so rarely, it's really rare that they have to get into this. They might need assistance with remembering how to get into the system, what they need to do when they first log in, or even that they need to do it at all. And that's why I said we'll be helpful with you guys in making sure that they know that it's time to get in there. You are going to be able to help with that, and our staff is always able to assist you guys with that as well. But just remember, the authorized official is the person who is able to certify or enter into contracts on behalf of your agency. The agency administrator is the role that affords the most permissions in OGX, except for being able to certify those projects. So pretty much the agency administrator can do everything else. That's the person in your agency, listen to this, it's important. It's the only person in your agency that has access to add or edit users in the system. And then we're going to talk about why that's important in just a minute. If you do get into the system and you look at your agency assignments and you notice that your agency does not have an agency administrator assigned, your agency head can contact us to assign somebody. Many project directors are assigned as agency administrators in the system to afford them the most access to be able to perform multiple tasks, even if there is a separate, even though there's a separate project director distinction. We're going to talk about that next. Project directors, speaking of, here it is. If you only be submitting reports, if you're only getting in there to view reports or submit monthly reports, this is really the role for you. If you're not going to be in there changing people's permissions or applying for funding or anything like that, then this project director role is really the one for you. You have access to go in and view any reports that you have been granted access to, and you have the ability to submit reports, initiate and submit reports, as does the financial officer. So finance officers have the same permissions as project directors for submitting those reports. Now, with many of our projects, the financial officers, hello finance officers, the financial officers don't actually get into OGX to submit these reports. They leave that up to their project directors. So whether you are doing you know, you're completing the finance report, you're signing off on the finance report to certify, you know, what expenses are going to be requested for reimbursement from us, and then you give that document to your project director, that's fine. But you do, if you are assigned in OGX as a financial officer, these are really the permissions that you're going to have.
Kelly, we had a couple of hands raised.
Sure. I can't see who those people are. Do you know?
Can you all unmute your mics?
I think they were waving. I think they were waving at me because I said hi, finance officer.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
That's what I get for saying hello. Okay, next, pop quiz. What role assignments, hopefully you were listening the last couple of minutes, what role assignments in OGX have the ability to add or edit users? Use the chat and let me know what you think. I gave you guys four roles at your agency. It was authorized official, agency administrator, project directors, and finance officers. So let me know who you think has the ability to add or edit users. We're always thankful for the first few people that get it right in the chat because everybody can copy. I love it. Work smarter, not harder. You guys are right. Agency administrators. Agency administrators are the ones who can add or edit users in the system. So I really encourage you guys to get into OGX here in the next few days and look at your list assigned to your project or assigned to your agency and make sure that you guys have an agency administrator assigned. If you don't, let's get that done. All right. Moving on. All right, this is the next thing. So those agency administrators, remember we talked about them being the ones who can add or edit users. They are the ones who need to get in here to change users, change permissions, or add new users to the system. So this happens when you get a new mayor that's elected or a new county commissioner gets elected as the chair of the Board of County Commissioners or something like that, or a new project director, somebody retires or resigns. Lots of permissions change mid-year. So we're going to talk a little bit about what that looks like. So remember, adding new users, this is for agency administrators. So new users are going to be added to OGX as staffing changes, and we're going to talk a little bit about what that process looks like. First and foremost, you have to create the user in the system. So somebody in OGX has to have an account in OGX. As an agency administrator, you can do this for them, which is great. It kind of takes out the middleman and really kind of puts the ball back in your court. So when you first log into OGX as an agency administrator, you can go up to the search bar. This is the easiest way to do it. Go up to search and search for your project, okay? So the easiest way is to put in the year and your organization. I'm using Atoka. I know you're here. I'm picking on Atoka today. So this is the way that screen will look. So you're going to select 23 for the year and put Atoka in organization. You can also put it under document name. Sometimes that translates, sometimes it doesn't, but for organization, it usually works pretty well that way. And then you are going to click on the organization name. I've circled it down there at the bottom. You're not going to click on the project name. You're going to click on the organization name. So for this example, you're going to click on City of Atoka. Then you're going to go use the blue menu on the left, and you're going to click Organization Members. This is going to pull up a whole list, and I've got it kind of blurred out at the bottom there, but it's going to pull up a whole list of people who have access to your, or who've been assigned to your agency, okay? So when you click on that, you're going to see a list of everyone who has permissions in your project. Now, there are going to be a lot of people listed here that you don't recognize. So we have NHTSA partners from Region 6 who have access to get in there and view your project. We have lots of people here at Highway Safety, names that you might not recognize. Don't panic, they're supposed to be there. You also might see people who have an active and an inactive date, which means they did have access to your project, but they don't anymore. So like I said, don't panic, just take a look at your list. This is also going to be where you can go, like I said, in the next few days and view whether or not you have permissions in the system as an agency administrator, or who has permissions as an agency administrator. This is going to be where you can look. So organization members. If the person you are adding does not already have an OGX login, and you can ask them if they've been in OGX for any sort of other grants or previous years or anything like that, or if they worked at a different organization or anything like that, you can ask them if they have a username for OGX, but this green plus sign is going to be where you're going to add them. So we're almost creating an account for that person. When you click Add Person, you are going to enter all of their general information. So you're going to need this kind of stuff. We don't need all of it, but we do need their first name, their last name, their title. I'll go to the next screen. We need their mailing address, the phone number, and email address. Then you're going to go to this Assign Roles box, and you're going to assign them a role. So if this is a new person who is going to be your new authorized official, or if this is going to be a new project director for your agency, you're going to assign them a role. So you're got the drop-down menu, and you can select that and click whatever role it is that you are wanting to give them. Your active date will auto-populate to the day that you are entering them into the system. Inactive, leave it blank. You don't have to put anything there because that will actually deactivate their access. So just leave that blank. Then you're going to create them a username. So however you guys want to do that, some people utilize, first name, first name dot last name, first initial last name. That's really up to you. If that username is not available, this will tell you. So just create them a username and then create a password that's going to be a temporary password for them to log in the first time. Before you click save, write those down. Write down the username that you created and the password that you created for them. Write it down, put it in an email, however it is you're going to share that information with them so that when this screen goes away, when you click save, you don't panic a little bit because you forgot to write it down. And I say that from experience. Okay, so once you've added the new user to the system, make sure, like I said, share their username and temporary password with them so that they can log in. The website is just ogx.ok.gov. It's not hard to do, but you can send that information to them in an email. That pretty much creates them access and a username account in the system. Now, step 2 to that is we have to assign the user to your current project. So just because they have access to OGX doesn't mean they have permissions in your project. It just means they can log in. So the next thing you're going to do is add them to your project. You can use the top blue navigation bar there to go back home and then go back to search, just like what we did a few minutes ago. 23, Atoka, I'm still picking on Atoka, but instead of clicking the organization, you're going to click the project name that you want to add them to. Now, if you click, if you don't put the year in there, let's say you just put Norman or, Oklahoma County or something into that organization, it's going to pull up a lot of years of projects. So if you put 23 in the year, it will filter those out for you. So you really only have one to select, which is great. The project name there is FFY23 Atoka, and you're going to want to click that. This is your project. So we are adding them actually to the 23 document. So use the blue menu over here on the left and scroll down to Tools, and there is a button that says Add, Edit People. Now, this is where you're going to see another list of people. These are the people who are actually assigned to the FY23 project. So you can go down here and see that they have active dates. You can see what their role is and see who they were actually assigned by. You're going to see people on this list, chances are, that have active and inactive dates. Now, that means, like I said, that they had access to your project, but they don't anymore. And I'm going to explain the importance of not deleting them from the system in just a few minutes. Here, you're going to be able to use that green plus sign to add the person you've just created to the project. You're going to have to give them a role, and you're going to have to give them an active date, and then click Save. So let me go back. Something important to note there. If you see, like I said, if you see people who are no longer with your agency, don't worry about it. Don't delete them. They should have an inactive date listed. If you delete them from the OGX system, you're going to delete everything that they did in the system prior to them leaving, and that is bad. We don't want that, okay? So you're not actually deleting them from the system, but when you give them an inactive date, you disable their access. So don't delete anybody, okay? We're going to talk about how to kind of change those in just a minute. All right, changing user permissions. This happens when somebody resigns, retires, gets terminated. It happens. They get reassigned to other projects. You get a new authorized official. Like I said, a new mayor might get elected, a new county commissioner might get elected or get appointed to as the chief of the board of county commissioners. You might get a new project director, a new finance officer. Changing user permissions, not hard at all. You're going to go back into your document, just like we did, and you are going to use this edit symbol over here on the far right to edit someone's permissions. Okay, so you're going to pick them, edit them. This is where you can give them an inactive date. If you're going to change them from project director to agency administrator, you're going to change someone from agency administrator back to project director or anything like that, you can change their role here. If they have left their agency or have no reason to have access to this project anymore, you can give them an inactive date. Like I said, that's not going to remove any of the work that they've done in the system. It's simply going to deny their access past that date. So you're going to click that and then hit save. So changing the agency administrator. So this is something that we kind of talked about earlier, but occasionally your agency administrator is going to resign, retire, leave for whatever reason, and it's going to need to be changed. Since that person is the only person with access to make that change, honestly, it would be nice for them to take care of that before they left. It would be cool for them to go in, create a new user, or assign the agency administrator designation to someone else in your agency that already has OGX access, or use these instructions, as I've kind of been talking about, to create a new user in the system and assign them as an agency administrator. But if for some reason that person leaves and isn't, getting into OGX anymore, isn't, working anymore, and you guys need one, contact your program manager for assistance. What we're going to need is something from your agency head that gives kind of direction on who it is or who it needs to be in OGX, and then your program manager can help you with that. We can get that up to the right people here at Highway Safety to make that assignment in OGX, but until then, you won't have anybody to make any changes. So, like I said, ideally, it would be nice if that happened before that person left, but that doesn't always happen that way. All right, if you make any changes to the authorized official, the project director, or the finance officer, you're going to need to edit your applicant info page in your project. So this is a page that's filled out when you first apply for grant funding with Highway Safety. So chances are that might change. So let's talk about this. When you get into your project, this is going back to that search bar, finding 23, I'm still picking on Atoka, so 23, put your organization in the organization search bar. Use the blue menu on the left to click applicant info. It's up at the top, so you can't miss it. When you get into applicant info, there is a page you can scroll through here, and it will give you an option to change the project director or the agent or the authorized official or the financial officer. Changing the agency administrator, you don't have to do anything on this page. So that would be that. When you click that and enter all of those new details, you're just going to click save. So anytime you're really making an edit to those three roles, you need to do this kind of as your last step, and then click save. When you're doing these, let's do a pop quiz first. All right, when should you delete a user from the system? Use the chat box. Tell me, when would it be appropriate to delete a user from the OGX system? Oh, all caps. People are typing in all capital letters. When you want. Don Hyde, I know that's you. Never, ever. Perfect. All right. Like I said, God bless those people who get it right in the beginning. You do not want to delete people from the system. It really messes up the reports and permissions and things that have happened in your project prior, and you don't want to get rid of anybody in the system. So when you're getting searched by the FBI, only if they have a warrant. Okay. Here we go. Communicating your changes. So this is something really important. Our projects are so good at this, guys. Like we really do, and Dee touched on it earlier, but we really do have a really dynamic team here at Highway Safety, and we will communicate with you, but we want you to communicate with us as well. So if you guys are making changes in OGX, you've got a new project director, you've got a new agency administrator, you've got a new whoever, talk to your program manager and let them know that you're going to be going in and making those changes. If you can't find whatever email or link to go back and view this slideshow, and you need your program manager to help you through this, we can do that. So just give us a call, shoot us an email, and we can help you make these changes. But we would like to know that, especially if the project manager changes and nobody lets us know and we're still emailing you for some reason, and nobody knows why, and nobody knows why anybody's not responding or anything like that. It would certainly behoove you guys to communicate changes you're making with your program manager via email. We would really appreciate that, actually. Okay. This is a new, kind of a new session to project directors, because we really want you guys to know how to get in there and change accesses in OGX and understand what roles mean what in OGX. So if you guys have questions, you can, like I said, you can contact your program manager at any time. I'm really looking forward to working with the projects that I've been assigned this year. And I'm, as Dee said earlier, we're really happy that you guys are here. So if I can do anything, please let me know.